Good afternoon, Asheville Middle School parents and families. My name is Katie Hardy, and I wanted to reach out with a couple updates about your child's math class. This is my 16th year in public education. The past 8 years, I was a 6th grade math teacher at Montford North Star Academy, and last year I moved to Asheville Middle School. The 8 years before that, I taught 5th grade and taught all subjects. So I've been working with 10 to 12-year-old students for the past 16 years. This year, I'm the AIG teacher here in 6th grade. However, I've been spending a lot of my time this year working with Mr. Lyles, the long-term substitute teacher in your child's classroom. I am the person planning, writing, and grading all of assignments and the activities in that math class. Mr. Lyles and I meet every week to talk about what we're going to be doing, how it's going to happen, and to answer any questions he might have. He's been doing a great job managing it on the classroom side. So, what is your kid going to learn this quarter? We are about halfway through our content. We're just a little bit behind, but it's not a big deal. The first part of the school year, students reviewed and relearned how to add and subtract decimals. They learned how to find the mean, median, mode, and range of a set of data. They reviewed what a factor and a multiple is. We added on prime factorization this year, and we've just finished up solving word problems and real-life situations where we would need to use factors and multiples. Kids took a quiz on that today. I hope to get it graded over the weekend and out to kids and families early next week. Next week, we're going to start our geometry unit where students are going to learn to find the area of polygons. So we're moving past squares and rectangles into basically all shapes except for circles. So no circles this year, but that'll come next year. All right, important and quick tips. I'm actually going to move my head so it's not in the way. Okay. There are approximately 90 students in the 4 classes that I am grading math assignments for. There are about 15 name duplicates. What that means is I have asked every child in every class many, many times to put their first and last name on their assignments. This is important for a couple of reasons. One, we have a lot of duplicates. So even just putting your initial, for a lot of our kids that won't work because they have the same initials. So I really, really, really need a first and last name. Also, because I am not interacting with your child in the classroom every single day, I do not have their handwriting memorized. That sounds kind of crazy, I know, but if I'm with them all day, every day, eventually I start to know whose handwriting is which, so the name's not a big deal. But right now, I don't have the ability to do that. So, for a child to get credit for an assignment, yes, they have to put their first and last name on it so I can make sure it gets to whose grade it is supposed to get to. Next week, we're going to do some changing of how we turn assignments in. So, we're going to restructure that next Monday. There will be a spot to turn things in by class. That's already been happening, but it's not been as streamlined as I'd like it. What do you do if your child has a missing assignment? I talked to all the kids, well, most of the kids yesterday in most of the classes and reiterated the importance of putting their name on it. Some kids misread that, but the truth is I can't grade it. Well, I can grade it, but I can't give a grade if there's no name or if there's only a first name or if there's a scribble name. So we've talked about that. Also, if an assignment shows up missing and your child thinks they did it, I am available every morning from 8 to 8:30 during homeroom and have told the majority of students to come see me and we can problem solve at that point. I will go over all of this again on Monday in all the math classes. If you are having problems, feel free to reach out to me through Parent Square or email. Okay. We have a couple of different types of assignments that we do, and I just wanted to walk through really quickly and give you an example of what's going on. So, first things first, students come into math class every day, well, Monday through Thursday, and they solve 2 math problems, 2, as a warm-up. They do not have to get those questions right. They come in, they get out their notebook, they start the questions. Then Mr. Lyles, me, or another student will go over how to correctly solve the problem. All students are encouraged to change anything that is incorrect and correct their work in their bell ringer notebook. This is important because on Fridays, we have a bell ringer quiz that's worth 50 points, okay? This quiz has 5 math questions on it. They are the exact same math questions that they did earlier in the week during their bell ringer, okay? We pick 5 of them and those go on the quiz. The real kicker is students can and should use their math notebooks on the quiz, which means if they did what they were supposed to, they should already have the answers written down in their notebook. The quiz should take about 3 minutes, long enough for them to open their notebook, find the page, pick out the answer, and select it on the quiz. Now, if your kid is absent, it's not the end of the world. They can make up the quiz the day they come back. They just need to come see Mrs. Hardy and let me know they need to make up the quiz. We'll go over this again on Monday. Also, if your child misses one of the bell ringers earlier in the week and they are freaking out because they're not doing well on the quiz, one little thing you need to know. A skill has to be practiced multiple times in class before it ever ends up on a bell ringer quiz. For example, the first 2 or 3 weeks of school, the bell ringer quiz had review math problems from 4th and 5th grade that every child should have seen before and knows how to complete. If your child is not doing well on their bell ringer quiz, a good conversation would be, are they writing it down and are they using their notebook? A lot of kids who don't do well on these quizzes, it's because they just won't write down the information. Please have a conversation with your kids about that. Okay, then kids every day move into the lesson or activity. Just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of what one of the lessons looks like. So let me change screens. Okay, this was the day 3 lesson for greatest common factors and least common multiples. It's what they've been working on for about a week and a half. So at the beginning of the lesson, there is always telling them, a learning target telling them what they need to know in this class, what they are going to learn. So that's always written, and we have kids or Mr. Lyles read that out to the class. Then there's almost always a song that we can relate the content back to. These songs are never like Grammy award-winning hits, okay? They are boring and annoying and kind of silly, but they get in your head and you can't stop singing them, and that's why we use them. We're not going to listen to this one. Even though it's a pretty good one, we're not going to listen to it. All right. Then I go over on the slide a review of exactly what's happening. So this part of the slide is reviewing greatest common factor, and this part of the slide is reviewing least common multiple. This is the 3rd day that students have been talking about this, and that's why the review is a little bit smaller. Moving on, I created 2 videos showing exactly what students are supposed to do when they need to find the greatest common factor and the least common multiple. Students watched these videos and then worked through writing examples down in their math notebook. So I'm going to skip the videos, and here is an example of exactly what they did. This is an assignment students completed last week following the video. So it gives them and walks them through exactly what to do. That's an idea of what one day in a math classroom looks like. All right, there are other assignments besides just the bell ringer and bell ringer quiz. Students also use a program called iExcel. iExcel is actually a computer-based database where students can go and practice all kinds of math skills. We usually at Asheville Middle have students work on a skill in iExcel after it's already been taught for 3 or 4 days in the classroom. So for this iExcel assignment, students answered questions related to factors and multiple word problems. I have a typo on this slide, so I'm just going to move it over here. IXL assignments are worth a total of 40 points, just like a classroom side, and this is how that grade is determined. Kids answer questions and get what's called a SMART score, and depending on where they stop is the grade that they get. We encourage all kids to try to get to a minimum of 85 points. 85 points is a solid B, and it demonstrates your understanding of the material. Students are always able to keep going until they get to 100. So if your child says they ran out of time, they almost always have time during their day to make up or catch up on missing work. Another thing we got going on, all classwork is up to 40 points. That means we can have anything from a 5-point assignment to a 40-point assignment. A 5-point assignment is not nearly as important as a 40-point assignment. All right, next up we have homework. So homework is one piece of paper. It is sent home on Monday. It's due on Friday. One side of the paper has a graph on it with 4 to 5 written questions about the graph. The other side of the paper has about 8 computation questions and then 1 data question where they have to find the mean, median, mode, and range. For an average 6th grade student, it should take approximately 20 minutes to complete all of their homework if they're focused. For an above average student with computation, it might take only about 10 minutes. Now, I do grade the homework. The graphing section is worth 10 points, and then I pick 2 questions from the computation each week at random and grade them for the week. So, total of 20 points. However, we have a change this school year. This school year, homework is not being added or a part of a child's final grade. Homework is really important because it teaches the skill of keeping up with an assignment, having it for a week, getting it done, and that is a big part of middle school. The other reason we do homework is because it's really good practice. We, the teachers, know that the students who always complete their homework find more success in math than those that don't. So it won't hurt your child's grade if they're not doing their homework, but if your child says they don't understand what they're doing in class, the first thing they need to do is the practice on their homework. Otherwise, they need to ask for help. If they need help, I am available every morning from 8 to 8:30 and am always happy to answer any questions. All right. Last thing we have is quizzes and tests. They're anywhere from 50 to 100 points. Most of the time they're around 100 points. Quizzes happen during a unit. Tests happen at the end of the unit. Okay, that's all I've got so far. I will reach back out and hope to hear from you. If you need anything related to math or math grading, please do not hesitate to reach out. You can also look on our Canvas course. I didn't show that. The Canvas course is right here. It's a math class with me and Mr. Lyles. You may join as a parent observer. If you join as a parent observer, you will be able to see all of this information, which is here at the top. It's literally everything I just went through. So if you want to go back and look at it closely, you can become an observer on your child's Canvas course. You can still get to this Canvas course even if your child does not bring their computer home. If you have internet at home, you can get here. If you need help or support with that, please just let me know. This is where all the kids' assignments kind of exist in the gradebook area. There's Canvas and Infinite Campus, and both are used for grading. I hope that this answered some of your questions. If you have more, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much.